In today's video, we're going to be playing the Rock, but with the Scam variant. This is a list that I found on Goldfish by Dingo, and it is playing 4 Griefs, and of course, 4 Not Dead After All. And when looking at the rest of the deck, we actually have some other ways of scamming with Endurances, which is not the best. And then we are also playing 4 Dothies alongside 4 Bowmasters. And interestingly, we are also playing Grist in this list. So we're going to be taking this sweet new Rock variant into a League of Modern and seeing if it's powerful enough. Match 1, we are on the play, and our hand is slow, but I'll keep it. We'll lead on a turn 1 Tap Tomb. Then goes turn 1 Floodstrand. We will play out an Urborg into a Goofball. Opponent plays out a Watery Grave. We will play out our Delta, Fetch Shock, and attack in for 1. Opponent plays out a Bobble, cracks it looking at their top card, and then shocks in a Watery Grave. So in step, we will flash an Endurance. Ooh, another Grief for us. We will attack in for 5. An opponent has an Orcish Bowmasters, and they shoot our Goif going for a double block, so we'll just push the Bowmasters. Then play out a Tap Tomb. Opponent Fetch Shocks, plays out an island into a Shadow, into another Shadow. Ooh, Bowmasters for us. We will attack in with the Goif, and they take the damage. So we'll evoke out a Grief. Guess we will take the Bowmasters. Then we will play out a Shieldred, passing. And opponent scoops it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. And then opponent just scoops it up there. So let's get on to match number 2. Match 2, we are on the draw, and starting hand's not that great, so we'll mull this. And this looks much better. We will keep putting back a Not Dead After All. Opponent goes Fetch Shock into turn 1 Preordain. We top deck a Grist, great draw. We'll play out Takenuma into a Thoughtseize. Okay, and this looks like some sort of prowess list. So I think the right take here is just the card advantage spell. Opponent plays out a Mountain into a DRC and a Swift Spear, attacking us for 1. Got another Bowmasters. We will fetch out a Forest and cast out a Bowmaster, killing their DRC. Opponent plays out a Soulscar Mage into Lava Darting our Bowmasters and attacks in with their Swift Spear, so we'll jump. Okay, land is a good draw. Play out our Verdant, fetch and shock, and play out an Endurance. Opponent plays out a Swift Spear, attacks in, we will block the Soulscar, and they fire a bolt off on our Endurance. No land is tough. I think we're just playing out our Goif here. Opponent attacks in with the team, we'll block the Soulscar. Oh, and they found a Lava Dart. I think that'll do it. Now that'll be 1 off of lethal. Okay, we're not dead yet. A Witherbloom command. Kind of a huge draw. We will drain and pick up a land. Picking up a Swamp. Play out Swamp and pass the opponent. Opponent plays a land, passing. So instead we will flash into Bowmasters. Top deck another Dothy. We'll play one of them out. Attack in for 4. Opponent attacks in. We will double chump. We find another Grist. We will play out a Grist. Tick up. Ooh, and we got a double activation. That is huge. So we will attack in for 8. And they're down to 2. And now they're down to 1. And opponent scoops it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 2 Maelstrom Pulse and a Thoughtseize for Endurance and 2 EEs. Game 2. Starting hand is insane. Opponent goes turn 1 Mountain into Soulscar. We'll lead on a Verdant. Evoke out our Grief, pitching Grist. Let's take a little Peeksy Poo. Oh, they're splashing white. Interesting. So let's take EI with the first. Fetch and shock. Then play Not Dead After All, getting back our Grief, and we'll take their Swifty. Opponent Fetch Shocks, playing out a Preordain, and they scry 2 to the bottom, attacking in for 2. Find a Swamp, we'll play that out, attack in for 4, then play out a Goofball. Opponent Fetch Shocks, and they fire off a Prismatic Ending on the Goif, attacking in for 2. Ooh, push, great draw, we'll attack in for 4, and we all know what time it is, Goofball o'clock. Opponent fires off an EI, they exile a Bobble, they cast it out, and opponent cast a Path on our Goif, so pick up a Forest. Bobble our top. Axe in for 4. We will push their Soulscar. Witherbloom command. Perfect draw. Attack them for 4. And we will, I guess, mill them and drain them. And GG's. Let's get on to match number 3. Match 3, we are on the play, and starting hand looks strong. We'll lead on a Shockland into a Thoughtseize. Oh, and it looks like we're up against Living End. And this hand is actually nuts against Living End. Guess we will take the Shardless. Opponent plays a Misty. We find another Grist. We'll play out our Peatland into a Dalthy. And in response, they cycle a Curator of Mysteries. Opponent plays an Island. We find another Endurance. We will Thoughtseize the opponent. We will take the Oliphant, then attack in for 3. In step, they cycle cycle a Generison into an Architects. Opponent cycles a Street Wraith. Ooh, a Goyf off the top. We will attack in with our Dothy and then play out a Goyf. Opponent cycles a Curator of Mysteries into an Architects of Will, and then they cycle a Generison. Opponent untaps, casting out a Violent Outburst. So we will evoke out an Endurance, and opponent scoops it up there. Let's get down to sideboarding. We're going to take out 4 Push and a Maelstrom Pulse for 2 Fulminary Mage, 2 Chalice, and an Endurance. Game 2, starting hand looks quite good again. Opponent leads on a Spire Bluff Canal. We'll evoke out a Grief here, take a Peaksy Poo at their hand, and then we'll take the Violent Outburst here, play out a Chalice, and a tapped Overgrown Tomb, and they cycle a Riverwinder. Opponent plays out a Misty, we'll shotgun our Tomb and hold up a Bowmasters. In step, they fetch shock and cycle a Waker, and still in the end step, we'll just cast at our Bowmasters now, and shoot the opponent. Opponent plays out a Sunken Runes, we top deck a Dothy, we will attack in, play out our Urborg, and then cast out a Grist, and we'll tick up. In step, they cycle a Generison into another Generison, and cycle an Architect, so we'll shoot the opponent for 1. Opponent folks out a Grief, taking our Shieldred, and they cycle a Street Wraith, we'll shoot them for 1, cycle another Street Wraith. I don't know if they were forgetting about the Chalice of the Void in play, and opponent scoops it up. Let's get on to match number 4. Match 4, we are on the draw, and starting hands looks fine. Also, we're up against a Yamori the Collector deck. Interesting. It looks like we're up against humans here. So I think we'll go with a turn 1 Endurance here. That's shock, evoke out Endurance. This is a strange play, but I think it's correct. Opponent plays out a Avacyn's Pilgrim into an wow, what a start. Find a land, we'll attack in, shock in an Overgrown Tomb into a Dothy Voidwalker. An opponent plays out an Augur of Autumn. I am so confused what's going on here. Into a Temple Garden, playing out a Melira. Okay. We will lead on attacking in with the team, and they just chump block with Melira. So we'll just play out another Dothy here into a Peatland, passing. Opponent plays out a Pendlehaven into a Solitude, another Noble Hierarch into an Imperial Recruiter, finding an Uvenwall Tracker into another Uvenwall Tracker. Okay, attacking in for 4. Okay, another Dothy for us. We will attack in with both. Actually, no, we'll just attack in with Endurance here. They chump block with their Recruiter. We will activate Dothy, casting their Solitude, killing their Augur, then playing out a Grist. Ticking up. Opponent activates Pendlehaven, pumping their Avacyn's Pilgrim. Acts at Grist, activating a Uvenwald Tracker, killing our Solitude. Then activates another Tracker, taking down our Insect, and this also takes down Grist. And then they cast out a Champion of the Parish. Ooh, Castle Lockthwain, good draw. We will attack in with the Endurance, then play out Castle Lockthwain into a Dothy and our Tarmogoyf. Activates Pendlehaven, attacking in, so we'll just block with our Goyf here. Then they activate a Tracker, killing our Dothy, and our Goyf takes out their Pilgrim. Then they fight the Tracker with our Goyf, killing our Goyf. Grief is an okay draw. We'll attack in for 4. And then we will just play the Grief out now. And it plays out a Shana. Oh man, that is a good one. Then they take out our Grief, attacking in for 5. We top deck a Push, not a bad draw. We'll take out this Tracker, which has been insane, and then crack our Peatland, finding a land which we'll play out and pass back to the opponent. Opponent picks up Yamori, casting out Yamori. This is so sick. Gosh, their deck's dope. Attacking in for 8 damage. Guess we kind of need to block probably. Come on. Endurance. Yeah, it's not going to do it. Opponent got us, so let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 3 Endurance, 4 Dothys and a Thoughtseys for 2 EEs, 2 Fulminary Mage, and 4 Assassin Trophy. Game 2, starting hand, looks quite strong. We'll lead on Fetch Shock and fire off a Thoughtseys. Ooh, yeah, we're going to have to take the Sanctifier Invect. Opponent leads on a turn 1 Cavern, playing out their Champion of the Parish. We find a Fulminary Mage. We will evoke out our Grief. Ah, okay, this is actually kind of nice. They evoke out a Solitude, thinking that we have an Undying effect, which is probably the correct play, but it's nice for us. Yeah, and then we see nothing. So we'll play out our Forest and play our Bowmasters, killing a Champion. Opponent plays out another Champion into a Heath. We find a land, play it out, attack in, then play out our Fulminary Mage, which will sack, now taking out their Cavern. Another Heath for the opponent, and they attack in. Land for us, we'll crack our Peatland. Ooh, Goyf, great draw, attack in for 2. Then we'll fetch out a Swamp, playing out our Goyf. Opponent plays out a Courtyard, and then picks up Yamori. Another land for us. We'll attack attacking with the team. Oh, they do trade off here. Then we'll play out a tap tomb. Opponent plays a forest, casting out Yamori. Fetch land, good draw. We will fetch. And then push their Yamori. Attacking in for 5. Opponent plays out a Torrens that says whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 soldier, and it has training. Interesting. Or the, wait, does the token? I'm so lost. I don't know. We're attacking it. That's all I know. And they chump with their Pilgrim and play out our Swamp. Ooh, an Adeline for the opponent. Opponent attacks in. Wow. This card's pretty good against what we're doing. Okay, Grist is probably not going to do it. We'll attack in for 4, which they chump block. Then we will play out our Grist, ticking up. And opponent finds an Imperial Recruiter off the top, getting another soldier token. Yeah, and at this point, opponent has us here. We will say GG's. This token maker is just a little too much, so we'll scoop it up and get on to match number 5. Match 5, we are on the play, and starting hand looks quite good. Oh, we're on the draw, apologies. An opponent goes turn 1 Mountain into a Ragavan. So we'll lead on turn 1 Delta. Opponent shocks in a Blood Crypt and goes combat. Backing in with Ragavan, so we will push this. And after combat, they cast out a Croxa, and we'll discard a Not Dead After All. Ooh, a Dothy is a huge pickup. We'll play that instead of in Thoughtseizing this turn. Opponent fires off a Bolt, killing our Dothy into a Ragster. Another land for us. We will play that out, passing, holding up Endurance. Opponent attacks in, we'll fetch out a land and cast out our Endurance. And they fire off a Terminate, killing our Endurance, triggering Ragavan, getting a Grief. Oh no, if they have a black card and a Scam effect, they can actually get this out. When they exile a Bowmasters, looking at her hand. Okay, thankfully they did not have an Undying effect. We'll play out land that we drew into a Pulse on the Ragavan. And Fable, another land. All right, we'll play that out, passing. Opponent declines the loot with Fable, attacking in. And in step, we will channel our Takanuma, picking up, I guess, a Grief. Urborg, not great. We will play out our Grief. Oh my goodness, their hand. Okay. Yeah, at this point, we're just too far behind. We will scoop it up and get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 2 Maelstrom Pulse, a Witherbloom Command, 4 Thoughtseize, and 2 Not Dead After All for 2 Fulminary Mage, 4 Assassin's Trophy, 2 Terra Sunder, and an Endurance. Hand looks pretty good for game 2. We'll lead on turn 1 Tap Tomb. Opponent leads on turn 1 Cliffs into a Thoughtseize, and they take our Grist. Another Endurance off the top. We'll play out our Castle. Opponent plays out a Swamp into a Dothy. Okay, we find a land, play that out, and cast out our Fulminator Mage. And we'll sack this now, getting rid of their Cliffs. Opponent fires off a Thoughtseizes, taking our Shieldred, then casting a Not Dead After All, sacking Dothy, and our only bet is to sadly evoke out our Endurance to stop this, but it doesn't really change the fact that they are gonna get our Shieldred. Yeah, and they cast out our Shieldred. Not good. Grist? Actually, probably our best draw, other than maybe a removal spell. So let's play out our land into a Grist and hope that this is good enough. Untaps, casting out a Bowmasters, taking out our Insect. And yeah, at this point, I don't think we have any draws, but we'll take 1 draw step before scooping. And yeah, that is not going to do it. We'll say GG's. And sadly, we did start off 3-0 going into a 3-2, but deck was pretty impressive. The one thing that I really enjoy about this deck is it has something that traditional rock is really missing, which is the explosiveness. Although something I very much dislike about this variant is that you just don't have any way to grind. So maybe adding in, the Elvish Reclaimer with the Urza Saga package with this might be possible. You'd get rid of the Endurances probably, and you'd probably have to get rid of all of the Goyfs because you do need to bring in those colorless spells for the Urza Sagas. But I do think that is probably a worthwhile try, and I might end up brewing that later. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.